Yevinn, the next step you're going to do is you're going to fill your donut, but you want to have the circle cut out so that you can see through to a background if you were to put a background behind the donut. So the way you'll do that is you'll click and drag just to select both of the shapes, and you're going to fill them both with a colour. So you can do that by double clicking on the square fill here, and then you can use a slider and select what colour you'd like. And so you can select a colour. If you're not happy with that, you can change it. You're going to fill both of these. And then you're going to go up to Pathfinder. If it's not there, just go Window and down to Pathfinder and select it, and it will open this up for you. And you can see this is what you want. You want the outline with a cutout middle. So we'll click on this, which is the exclude. Now you've got your cutout for the donut. So that's the first part done. And then the next part, you want to have this circle for the icing and the outside for the icing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the circle ellipse tool again, and I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to make it a bit bigger than that inside circle. Then of course I'm going to go over to the square fill, and I'm going to change it to no fill, and I'm going to put it back on here and see if it's the right size. If it's too big, then I'll just double click on the scale tool and make it say 97, and then hit the tab key, and that will automatically change the others. Okay, so that's scaled down. I'm just going to drag it across to see if it's a good size over here. So I think it's maybe a little bit big still, so we'll take it down again. 98, hit the tab key, okay. Right, and let's see how that is. Okay, so that's better. So we've got that one here now, and now we're going to start doing the icing on the outside. So this is a bit that isn't as fun until you get used to it. So you've done this for the runner for tracing that. So you're just clicking, holding down and dragging. So the arms have to sort of move in the direction of the lines. You don't want the arms too long, or they go back over each other, and then they create these little kinks of lines, and they become a bit jagged and uneven. So I'm just clicking and dragging. You can see I'm just doing little arms so that it doesn't get too messy. And obviously you can change how you trace this. If you want to make adjustments, you can. So as you can see, I'm not properly following your lines. You may want some that go right to the edge. You had some that go over a bit. And so that's gone. See how these two arms have crossed back over each other, so it puts a bit of a kink in it. So I'll go back and fix that up after. This one's going off the edge. Whoa. So it gets a bit hard to control sometimes. And then you go back to the start and create a bit of an arm. Okay, so this is a selection tool in the top left of the tool palette. This selects the whole selection. As you can see, all these little nodes are all blue. If I get the direct selection tool and click on it, I can go back and adjust different parts. So I can go back and click on this little arm here, and I can drag it away so that they're not crossing over, and it removes that kink that was in there before. Okay, so now I've got these two. I'm just going to bring this back to make sure that I'm happy with the placement. Now, what I will do though, so now that I've got these circles selected, I'll make sure that these circles are all together and then selected. Then I'll do horizontal align, and I'll do vertical align again. So see, now that's perfect. Now I'm going to take the lines that I want for the icing only. So I click on that one with the selection tool, and then click on this one. And then I'm just going to move them over to the side. And I'm going to choose a fill color for both of them. So double click on there. I'm going to go for a pink icing. Okay, so I've got both of those filled. Now I'm going to try this trick again that we did before. So I'm going to click and drag, and I'm going to click on the exclude tool. So once again, I've got the hole over there. So now I can fit this back over top of my donut. And so you know how we've done the align tool. Now that this is in a perfect circle, it's not going to align center anymore because the outside diameter is different and it's not even. So then I'm going to drag over, and you can see in the middle it says center, so that the circles are centered over each other, which is what we want. Okay, and so we can, now that we've got that all, group it. So click and drag over everything to select it, Control G to group it. And then the last thing that we want to do is the sprinkles. So just get the line segment tool and just do some sprinkles going different directions. And when you've got a few, and if you're happy with them, you can select them all. Now, what I've done is I've clicked and dragged over everything, but then I'm going to deselect some of the objects I don't want. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and click on the circle, so they've now been deselected. While I've got all of these selected, I'm going to Control G to group them, and then Control C and Control V. So now I've got some more sprinkles that I can move around, but what I will do is I'll rotate them. So I'll go over to the tool palette with the rotate tool, click on here and rotate them. And then I can move them into place, and Control V to paste again, and again I'll rotate the sprinkles. And then I'll use the arrow keys just to put them into place. If you see any gaps and you want to fill them up, then you can do that as well. I'll move this over here and I'll rotate it the other way. And then with the selection tool, move it into place. And Control V again, my last lot, and then I'll rotate them and use the arrow key to put them into place. So you can see that there's some gaps, so you can choose those. Now I've got those selected, hold down the Shift key, click on this group, click on this group, click on this group, and then this one, and then Control G. So now they're all grouped together. And then you can go over to stroke, click on there. And instead of having a hard cap where you've got straight, sharp edges, I want to soften them a bit. So I'm going to click on this one here. And now it's made the ends more rounded. So then while I've got that selected, if I want to, I can click on, this time, the line stroke in the tool palette, double click on there. And then if I want to change the color of the sprinkles, let's go for something different like blue, then I can change the color of the sprinkles. If you want to keep the lines, you can keep them, or you can remove the black lines. That's up to you. So you'll have a donut that looks like that, or Control Z and take it back like this. So you can play around with that. So now you can click and drag over everything, Control G, so now you've got it grouped. And what you can do then is, if you want to resize them, you can resize it, you can copy and paste. So you've got plenty to play around with now. You can make a pattern with them. You can change the colours of them. You can put a background behind them all. And you can make them much smaller as well if you want to. So play around with scale. as well, so that you've got, you can have them all the same size or different sizes. Remember, you don't want to have too much contrast in the background because you will be having your runner, that's the focal point that has to sit on top of this. And you may want to crop some of it as well. So imagine you had this square that you're working on, you can do this. And cropping is something else I can show you another time. So you can do that. Now, when you've got this selection, you could copy and paste them all and scale them down. So you might want to scale them down by, say, 50%. While they're there, group them so you can move them out of the way. So you could have a smaller pattern of donuts in the background. So that's something for you to play around with. Good luck.